After finding out that I'm an atheist, religious people often ask me why I don't just rape, pillage, and plunder to my heart's content. And I always counter the question of my own. Why would I want to do that? Religion likes to claim that morality was given to us by God, and that without Him, we would not know what it was and we would do whatever we wanted. This claim is one of the pillars on which religion leans to make itself seem virtuous and indispensable. Oddly, they usually express their motivation to be moral in a way that suggests that the threat of hellfire and damnation makes them behave well, rather than any innate sense of morality. Because I'm an atheist, they think I should behave like that, and are surprised that I don't. The idea that morality originated from the Bible, or any other religious text, is absurd. So let's examine that. This is the Atheism for Beginners channel, and I'm your host, Christian X. Rather than the barbaric threat of damnation that most religious people take as the driving force behind morality, I would prefer to focus on innate morality, which makes you do good for its own sake and not from fear of punishment. The Golden Rule expresses a form of reciprocating fairness that encapsulates the essence of morality and can be found in various guises in every philosophy and religion. It is mentioned in the writings of Socrates and Plato and Confucius, all of whom predate Jesus, and references can be found in every other major religion. In the Christian form, it is commonly rendered as, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." The biblical reference comes from the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 7:12, which in the JKV reads, "Therefore all things whatever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law of the prophets." The law of the prophets reference is to Leviticus 19:18, which expands on this but ends with, "But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord." This text is the first reference to the Golden Rule in the Bible. It is part of the earliest Judeo-Christian writings and dates to around the 13th century BCE. The earliest written text referencing the Golden Rule are Egyptian and predate the Judeo-Christian references by somewhere between 350 and 750 years, dating to between 2040 and 1650 BCE. Clearly the Hebrews learned something during their time in Egypt. If religion were the origin of morality, that accolade would go to the ancient Egyptian gods, to a religion that is no longer generally practiced today. The earliest references to the Golden Rule are closely related to the earliest known writings, so I see no reason to believe that the idea suddenly sprang into existence with the advent of writing. I'm sure the essence of the rule was well known in the oral tradition long before that. From a more practical perspective, it would be silly to think that the Hebrews, wandering around in the desert before they were introduced to the Ten Commandments and the hundreds of rules of Leviticus, managed to get along thinking it was okay to rape, plunder, pillage and kill each other whenever the urge took them. They wouldn't have gotten very far, would they? Behaving with a degree of morality is mandatory for the survival and growth of any social group. It is born out of the need to cooperate, to gather sufficient food, find shelter and fend off threats to the group. Each society has its share of violent bullies and leeches who display no morality and take advantage of their fellow man, and Christianity is no exception, nor any other modern social group or religion. But if too many of these people are in a group, they will strangle the group, preventing it from thriving because no one wants to labor if the reward is likely to be taken away. This means that the group needs to deal with these members because failing to do so will likely cause the group to die out. But this applies to more than just human society. Studies have been conducted on various animals including primates, dogs, cows, birds and various others, and it has been shown that they can also display a sense of fairness. At its core, morality is selfish. We treat other people as we would like them to treat us because that is precisely how they are likely to treat us, and cooperation and sharing are more effective than going it alone. Those who do not reciprocate are no longer trustworthy and can expect to be excluded from the group and not receive generosity in future. This is a classic example of how evolution works. Survival of the fittest. If you don't behave fairly and reciprocate generosity, you'll be excluded from the group, making it harder to find food and shelter, and your chance of survival or finding a mate to procreate with will be significantly reduced, and the moral gene is promoted over selfishness. Because of this, morality is baked into our genes and predates the invention of gods, human writing, and even talking. It dates back much further than that. Ask any colony of ants.